Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss. I'm pleased to say that he said yes. Dan, how are you?
This is on Dan's
I'm okay.
own.
I'm okay. I really appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk to you about what we saw over the last 2 nights.
I'm really glad you're here because I believe this is important.
For sure.
We've got a lot of things to unpack. But before I dive into my list of topics that I'd like to discuss, is there anything you'd like to start off with?
Absolutely. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable.
He's like, there's lots of people that I gave massages to. He's such a noble guy. Dude, come on. You're memeing. You're fucking memeing. You're either memeing or you are literally Dan Schneider. Come on, dude. There's no fucking way, dude. Please tell me this is an elaborate top of the hour ad break debate. Okay, I'll shut up and let Dan speak for himself. Bro, are you Dan? Are you Dan? There ain't no fucking shot, dude. Yo. Ow. Bro, what is happening? This 12-month subscriber. Bro. Yo, what? Yeah, he said, bro, come on. He's an actual good dude. You have to admit. Come on. He's like, come on, man. Give him a shot. Bro really loves iCarly, dude. He's like, come on.
From what I saw, not cool.
No. And I don't mean to cut you off, but if I can cut right to the chase, let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, also, as far as I understand, this dude was like one of the adults on his show. So obviously, one, I don't think Dan, I don't think Dan was into his feet. Seems like he was into children's feet more. And two, he's also kind of, he's not like as responsible, of course, but he's like a little bit culpable too, considering that he was on set and didn't say anything and didn't do anything. So like, it's more so him covering his own ass, it seems, than anything else. Like this interview that is also suspiciously posted on Dan Schneider's YouTube page. Do not let the setup fool you.
And I can tell you why it hurts really bad for me. I remember very clearly my early experiences, my first experiences in the entertainment business. I was green, I was scared, I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting those opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because they were great. My first couple of experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay that forward to every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. In the writer's room.
Dude, wait till Mr. Bonafide fucking turns around and defends Dan Schneider too, because it's like, one, the contrarian position, two, it's a great opportunity to do it's a phoebophilia.
There's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far or made practical jokes that went too far, and that was wrong. And that was because I was an inexperienced producer. I was immature. Wouldn't happen today, but I'm just really sorry it happened.
Yeah. Now, we know you've had a lot of success over 2 decades. Thousands of people have worked with you, for you.
Okay.
Let's speak directly to the people who did not have a good experience with you.
Okay, I would like to speak to those people because I hate that anybody worked for me and
It's like, you don't understand. I was a young 40-year-old child. Excuse me. A lot has changed in my life. From 40 to 60, I learned a lot.
didn't have a good time. You know me, you've been on my sets. Look, I've had some employees that have worked for me for 10 years, some more than 20 years, who would work with me again, but not everybody. There's still a significant number that didn't have a great time working for me.
Favorite animal? Platypus, endangered. 91 left in captivity. Okay, dude. Stop. Chat, stop. Come on, bro. Okay, I don't want to scare away Platypus 91 because I do want to hear more from him because I want to investigate his mind, okay? He's got a lot of very interesting takes.
So my batting average isn't nearly high enough in that area. And the way they wouldn't get the best of me is that I would let the pressure of doing 40 or even more episodes per year, I would let that pressure get to me, which a good boss should never, ever do.
Was there specific things that you were doing?
Sure, I would snap at people sometimes. I would be snarky when I could have given them a nicer answer.
Yeah, bro, this is not about that, man. What's going on here? Bro, talk about the feet, big dog, and the hiring of pedophiles. Hello? It's like, yeah, sometimes I had a bad day. Honestly, sometimes, listen, at the crafts food services table, they had the white cheddar cheeses, and I fucking loved the white cheddar cheeses. So as soon as I would come on set first in the morning, I would just grab all the white cheddar cheeses and I would stuff them in my pants. Okay? And I didn't let anybody else have the white cheddar cheeses. And that's kind of fucked up. It's like, no, that's not the point here. Stop talking about sometimes having an off day. Hello? Bro, they made the Nickelodeon logo a foot.
I would not give people the time that they needed. I would be in too big a hurry to get on to the next thing I had to do. And watching that show, it made me, there were so many times I wanted to pick up a phone and call some of those people and say, I'm so sorry and let's talk about it. And I wish you'd had a better time and I wish I could have shown you a better experience.
Yeah. Now, you've written hundreds of episodes. Thousands of jokes have been told.
Yeah.
But currently where we are, some people think that some of those jokes are inappropriate for children. What do you think of that?
Wokeness is dead. Have you seen Sydney Sweeney's tits? We're back on the jokes. The jokes are good now, okay? Liberals could not erase with their woke culture the jokes about feet, mostly about feet. I really love feet. Can't stop thinking about it. Specifically, the moment that someone turns 18, I don't care about their feet anymore. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But the feet stuff beforehand, it's just wokeness could not kill the foot jokes.
All these jokes that you're speaking of, that the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny, okay? Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, oh, you know, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show, just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
Wow, he's like, dude, what? You want to cut a couple of the jokes out of the show? Like, look at his reaction. Bro, dude, you are bad at acting, okay? Jesus Christ. No disrespect, but like, you are not a good actor, okay? Oh my God. He's like, wow. I mean, you must be the most gracious man I've ever met in my life. That's what his face is saying. What? Cut some jokes out of the show? What? Bro. What?
20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it. Cut it.
I mean, that's a solution.
Bro, yeah, this is the Tucker Carlson Vladimir Putin interview for the Vladimir Putin of securing weird feet pics of children, Dan Schneider.
The last thing I want to ever do
Yeah.
is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of elaborate on something.
Okay.
The thought process from the series is you had the power to just write a joke, and no matter what, it's going on TV. You just had that type of power. Is that true?
The notion that I had the power to just produce whatever I wanted and have it air is completely false.
Okay.
There were many, many levels of scrutiny. Okay? We had executives in LA. We had executives in New York.
So two coasts.
Two coasts
Okay.
of
Okay.
approval.
Damn. He's like, what? Not one coast, but coast to coast? That's crazy. Dude, his reactions are taking me out a little bit. He's like, what? You had that level of control? Like, people had that level of control over your content? Maybe they were the ones making the weird jokes, huh? Not you, Dan. You wouldn't do that, right, Dan?
Approval, yes. And by the way, approval at every stage, really.
Okay.
And I'm talking about wardrobe. I'm talking about makeup, sound, sets, dialogue, jokes, everything.
Now, when you say approval, obviously that's a hierarchy, not your colleagues or
right.
people in the room. Okay.
No, not my colleagues. No, these are my bosses. Bosses, and then their bosses, and then their bosses. And they're approving all of this stuff.
Okay.
Okay? And we're also shooting it in front of all sorts of adults and caregivers and the set teacher and
Who are you to tell a black man what he is saying? No, shut the fuck up, stupid.
the families. Everybody's watching it. And if anybody had said anything, hey, we don't like that, that's not appropriate, then it would have been cut out.
Now, I'm gonna push back a little bit
Sure.
because the series painted you in this way that you were just the guy that was doing what he wanted, and people were afraid to confront you about things. So just humor me, say that was the case. What would have been the ultimate way to...
Okay. If nobody on the set, if all
Bro, wow, you really push back hard, man. Yo, ease up on your criticism there. Come on now, Tebow. I mean, you're criticizing him a little too hard. Wow, what
all of
pushback.
the dozens and dozens of adults that were on the set, if they didn't say anything, if my bosses said, if they insisted, you got to make a change here, you got to cut that, I had to do it. I had no choice.
Got it. Now this next one, it kind of hit close to home. Being a new father, I wouldn't be opposed of...
It's a good question. If you had bosses, how come you were able to get away with that shit? What do you mean, bro? They hired pedophiles. The fuck are you talking about? They don't give a fuck. It was the money machine going brrrr. That's all they heard. Hello? Do you know anything about Hollywood? Is this the first time you are finding out about this industry? Any industry, really, but especially in Hollywood? What the fuck? Tebow was an adult on the set, exactly. So he has a lot of interest, in my opinion, to, like, you know, cast away the rumors.
To my child being in the entertainment industry, doesn't matter what age, yeah? Seeing some of those on-air dares, seeing it now from where you are now in your life, what do you think of that?
I think that some of the on-air dares went too far. I think they pushed the envelope too far. Not all of them, not most of them, but some did. Nickelodeon wanted to do their version of Fear Factor. At the time we were shooting All That, so I was tasked with doing these on-air dares with the All That cast. So we get with the writers and we come up with all these ideas, and it's hard to do because we don't have the budget of Fear Factor, and we can't put the kids in dangerous situations like the adults are put in. So it was hard to come up with stuff. But we would come up with all these ideas of dares they could do. We would give them to the network, and they would say, tell us the ones that were okay.
Right.
Those are the ones we shot. Those are the ones that aired. At the time, I had no indication that any kid ever had a problem with them. But when I was watching the show over the past 2 nights, I now know that there were kids who did have problems with the on-air dares. And it breaks my heart. And I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to any kid who ever had to do a dare or anything that they didn't want to do or weren't comfortable doing. We went out of our way to make sure they were safe and that everything was done properly. But if a kid was scared and didn't want to do it, kids shouldn't have had to do it.
Yeah.
Period, the end.
Right.
And if I had known at the time, I would have changed it on the.
Seems like a remorseful and respectful guy. Yeah. It's always cool when you set up a fake interview for yourself to basically act like you're being grilled by a dude who like agrees with you and says things like, hold on now, I'm going to push back here. What if hypothetically, I mean, obviously you didn't have the power and I agree with you and you were also awesome in the moments where you did have any kind of control. Thank you so much for making me the taco on a stick guy. That was pretty fire. But like in the moments that you didn't have, like, you know, what if your bosses were the ones who were directing you to do such things?
The spot.
Now, we also saw the series highlight 2 former writers' viewers, 2 women, who spoke about a wage discrepancy. Now, I know that you don't divvy out salaries. Talk to me about that part.
Well, you're correct. I have nothing to do with paying writers. I never have. I've never made a writer's deal. And of all the writers I've been in a writer's room with, I never even knew how much most of them were getting paid.
Yeah, but we saw these 2 women who were writers for you sharing one salary. How does that happen?
It's very simple. There's a common practice in television when hiring writers. If you have a spot for a new writer, sometimes you'll go to 2 writers and say, hey, if you 2 new writers for your first job are willing to share a salary, you can both have the job.
Wait, what? Okay. That seems insane and I think illegal. What does he mean? Oh, it's very simple. I did that shit was his answer. I love that his answer to this question was, oh yeah, no, we did that. And it was cool because it's very simple. And also everybody does it. Dude, that's awesome. Dude, here, there are allegations that you have used child labor in your poultry facility. Yeah, so here's a really common thing, right? Children, one, they yearn for the mines and sometimes the poultry facilities. Okay, and 2, it's really important to teach a child the value of $1 and what it takes to earn $1, which is why I hired children and only paid them $1. It's a very common thing. It's called hiring children. Did you not hear him when he said he was not responsible for that? He said he didn't do that explicitly. Bro, he's the showrunner. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. You believed him when he said that wasn't my responsibility, only to follow it up with, well, we hired 2 people for the price of 1. Like he literally said, no, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. And then immediately, I'm willing to hear evidence of the contrary. Bro, what do you mean? He just said it. His explanation was, I didn't do it, only to follow up immediately with, well, we hired 2 people for the price of 1. I like he said it already. You did hear it. The evidence came from his mouth.
Writers I've been in a writer's room with, I never even knew how much most of them were getting paid.
Yeah, but we saw these 2 women
Hold on.
who were writers for you sharing one salary. How does that happen?
It's very simple. There's a common practice in television when hiring writers. If you have a spot for a new writer, sometimes you'll go to 2 writers and say, hey, if you 2 new writers for your first job are willing to share a salary, you can both.
I believe Dan. He had nothing to do with him. These programs are not for perverted adults. The foot shit is so annoying. The reason Dan got to where he was because of his childish sense of humor. He understands that. Farts are funny. Slime is entertaining. And feet are funny. Bro, I believe Dan. He had nothing to do with him. Okay, you gotta be. You're Dan, right? You fucking Danimal. Come on. Come on. Are you Danimal or are you just a foot guy? What's happening? Let Dan speak and he'll destroy the rumors. Dude, I love this chatter so much.
Both have the job. They have the opportunity to say, yes, that sounds good, or no, no thank you. In this case, it was 2 women writers. I've done another show where that teaming was done with 2 male writers, and they split a salary. I did another show where it was a male and a female writer, and they split a salary.
By the way, it's still bad. Like, in all 3 of the circumstances, it's like when people are asking Donald Trump, like, okay, so there's allegations that you didn't you didn't pay contractors after, getting their help in your properties. And he's like, well, you don't understand. Let me tell you, I do that to all the contractors. It's like, hold up, all the contractors? What the fuck? Also, he keeps making it seem like he originally said he's never hired someone and played a role in the hiring process, which I don't believe. Showrunners absolutely have a say in the hiring process. The fuck? It's like Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, being like, yeah, actually, I have no say on what happens on Twitch because it's an Amazon subsidiary. It's like, excuse me? No, you're still the fucking CEO, big dog. What the fuck? You definitely do have say in what goes on inside of Twitch. Like, as the showrunner, he's basically the CEO of the show. It might be under a larger conglomerate, technically. Like, there are Nickelodeon executives, but especially as a showrunner, because this is a creative field too. Okay? Especially as a showrunner, when you get to a certain point in your career, the executives are reliant on you. They'll tell you, like, please make us money, but once you've proven your worth as a money maker, you're done. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Both have the job. They have the opportunity to say, yes, that sounds good, or no, no thank you. In this case, it was 2 women writers. I've done another show.
Stop. These programs are not for mentally ill adults. Kids find feet funny, which is why they put it in the show. I guess nobody's going to notice how much weight Dan has lost since his departure from Nickelodeon. Dude, okay, no, you're Dan. You're actually Dan. Yo, you're either trolling, and this is very, like, elaborate troll, or you're literally Dan. What? I guess next up, he's going to say, I guess nobody noticed how sick his beard looks. Nobody has, not even a single person has actually commented on how dope his beard looks. I think it looks great. And a nice vest too. He's also rocking the Steve Bannon look too, a little bit.
Where that teaming was done with 2 male writers, and they split a salary. I did another show where it was a male and a female writer, and they split a salary. So,
And these are all first-time writers.
all first-time writers looking for their first gig.
Got it. Now, in the series, they also highlighted 2 black actors who said that they felt overlooked. Now, I want to be clear. I'm never going to speak on anyone else's journey. Yeah? I can talk about my experience, how my experience was with you.
But considering you're sitting across from him doing PR for him, I don't think you're going to say you felt overlooked.
What I saw prior to working with you, but again, I don't want to speak on anyone's journey. I saw you be honored for diversity in your work.
Yes, and the reason for that is diversity has always been very important to me in my shows. If you go back to the very first Nickelodeon show I ever made, that's very evident, as it is in the second one, and then the first movie I ever made for Nickelodeon, which starred Kenan and Kel, and every show I did after that had a lead black actor in it. I'm very proud of that. It's very important to me. And not only am I proud that they were in my shows, I'm exceptionally proud of the achievements they've had beyond my shows, and they've gone on to bigger and better things, and that gives me a great sense of pride.
Well, something that really kind of bothered me was
I like that he basically said, like, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but you did win a lot of awards for diversity. So, okay. Like, cool, man. Thanks. Thanks for that take, dude. Seems great.
how they depicted your relationship with the cast.
Yeah, it bothered me too.
Yeah, just me being there, I knew the dynamic was trust. I understood that in situations where they may have had turmoil, whether it be with their families, whether it be other castmates, they came to you. Versus how they made you look. With that said, Amanda Bynes was brought up in the series and her emancipation and how you were involved in that. Can you talk to us about it a bit?
Sure. Amanda was between the ages of 16 and 17, and she wanted to get emancipated from her parents, which was a fairly common thing with successful young actors, at least at the time.
Sure.
And she wanted that for herself. So she turned to her team, which included her lawyer, her agent, her manager, her publicist, me, because she included me as part of her team, thought of me that way. We supported her. She tried to get emancipated. It ended up not working out. She didn't.
Well, since we're here, let's stay here for a moment. There was also an incident where she had ran away from home, if
Yes.
you would. Can you talk to us a little bit just to clear the air of exactly what happened in that situation?
Yes. One night, it was very late, well after midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning. Phone rang. I answered. It was Amanda. She was upset. She was in distress. She had had some conflict with her parents, I think her father, and she called me. I was immediately concerned about her safety.
Dan is an out and about socialist. That chatter might be him. Come on, man. Enough. Stop KEKWing him. You're only gonna fucking make people do this more. God damn it, you're ruining the meme.
I called someone who I knew was fairly nearby. That person was able to go and pick her up. Then I knew she was safe. I felt better. She ended up being taken to the police.
Or regardless of what some people...
And especially in the Amanda Bynes part.
I was immediately concerned about her safety. I called someone who I knew was fairly nearby. That person was able to go and pick her up. Then I knew she was safe. I felt better. She ended up being taken to the police.
Or regardless of what some people may think, I think it's only positive that you are there for people when they need you. That said, let's talk about some of the things that have just been swirling forever.
Okay.
You were banned from your set.
Never, never, never happened. That is a false rumor.
What happened?
Add it to the list of false rumors.
Talk to me, what happened?
They were adult actresses at the time, and they had their own specific reasons for not wanting to do the show anymore. I'm not judging that. It got tense, and what they don't know, maybe, is I did everything I could to make that show go away. My producer partner at the time, we would call and say, this is not a good situation.
Okay.
So I decided I'm going to do what most showrunners do, which is you're not on the set. There's a director there to shoot it. I'll go up to the writer's room. I'll work on the next script. But because everybody was so used to me caring about every detail of every show so much, for me not to be on the set, yeah, maybe some people thought I got banned.
So it was more of an assumption because...
Wait, so he did. Wait, what the fuck? Bro, this interview is so crazy because he keeps like repeating the question and like rephrasing it. He keeps rephrasing the fucking answer in a way that I think he thinks makes him look better, but he's just basically copping to all of it. See, now, I didn't get banned. There were adult actors that did not want me on stage, so I left voluntarily, despite the fact that I wanted to be there. But I didn't want to be there at all. I mean, I'm the showrunner anyway. You see, I wouldn't call it a ban. I would call it a exile, right? A self-imposed exile, a removal from the set.
This guy's usually here, and now he's not.
I don't know if it was an assumption. I don't know if somebody thought.
Bro, this guy's about to play footsie with him. What's happening right now? The adult actors were previously child actors. When he says adult actors, is he talking about like fucking Ariana Grande or some shit? Like, who's he talking about?
They were making me look bad by saying I got banned from the set. I have no idea.
Okay.
All I know is I was never banned from the set.
Yep. The darkest part of this series discussed child predators. Now, I want to make sure that we clear a couple of things up.
Okay.
Brian Peck was not hired by you.
No, I did not hire Brian Peck.
this was a Tolan Robbins production?
Yeah. And when Drake and I talked and he told me what had happened, I was more devastated by that than anything that ever happened to me in my career thus far. And I told him, I'm here for you. What do you need? Which Drake mentioned in the show that we watched last night. And next, I heard that he went to court when this guy was being tried, Peck. And when Drake walked in, he saw 50 people sitting on the side of the courtroom supporting Peck. A lot of them pretty famous. Of course, Drake was devastated that that happened. And even more disappointing, 41 of those people wrote letters for Peck, character letters, praising him for who he was and asking for leniency. And they knew that he was guilty. They knew he had confessed to some degree, and they still did this. That's baffling that adults would do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know this, but Drake's mom, a lovely woman who I stay in contact with this day, she came to me at the time and she said, Dan, I'm not good with words like you are. And
Who's James Marsden? James Marsden, Taron Killam, and stars who signed to Brian Peck letters of support devastated Drake Bell, says Dan Schneider. Cyclops and jury duty? What the fuck? Yo! Wait, why the fuck was this guy like... In his character letter, Marsden literally said Brian had experienced the pain of 100 men over the year since the investigation started. Yeah, but like, have you ever considered that it probably sucks when you get outed as a pedophile for the pedophile? You know what I mean? It probably doesn't feel good. What an insane thing to write. I genuinely don't understand it. Obviously, you guys know I'm a very big advocate for rehabilitation over incarceration, but that's an insane fucking thing to just like put yourself out there on. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?